there, viewers of Yeousch Reloaded, and hey there, citizens of Darvinville. Darvin here, and today's topic is about time management. Man, that sounds like a snooze fest, right? Well, stick around, because if you think about it, time is the only commodity that we have that really matters. I mean, look at money. You can always make more money in your life. It may feel like you've never have enough of it, but you can always make more. But time? That's a fixed thing, man. You can't do anything about it. So the way you spend your time and the way you allocate your time is incredibly important. So I'm going to talk about what it means in my life, how I accomplish the things that I need to do with limited amounts of time, and then I'm going to give you some tips that I use in order to maximize how much time I have available to do basically anything else I need to do. And I think this topic is really relatable to just about anybody, because I think no matter where you are in life, you'll always find yourself running out of time. You'll always consider yourself to be too busy. So why do I know this? Well, I'm an old guy. I'm 34 years old. I've been through a lot in my life as far as how busy I am, and throughout all those changes I always felt like I was packed. You know, there was always so much going on that I never had enough time for anything to get everything I wanted to get done. And my wife and I would kind of laugh about it sometimes. We say, remember back when we were newlyweds, we thought we were so busy? Well, now with 3 kids, we wonder what the heck we did with all that time that we had. I mean, seriously. Somehow it just all gets taken away from you, and often you can't understand where it all went. So each of us thinks they're the busiest person on the planet, and no one else could be so busy. Well, let me clue you in on what goes on in my life. You can compare that to your own and see where it stacks up. Warning, math inbound, and as if you know me at all, you know I suck at math, so this might be a little bit rough. So let's take 1 week, and we convert that into hours. 7 times 24 equals 168 available hours. Well, that's a lot, but it's really not available hours, so let's start taking some hours out that are dedicated to other things. Now for me, I have 40 hours for my day job, 20 hours for my part-time job, about 50 hours dedicated to my family, and if I sleep the 8.5 hours recommended per night, that comes up to 60 hours. And putting that all together, we get 170 hours of dedicated time compared to 168 hours in 7 days. Wait a minute. I must have done my math wrong here. There's only 160 hours available. That's a fixed amount of time. Well, as you've probably figured out, the problem isn't the math, the problem's actual reality. So, how do we manage this? Well, to get extra time into my life, I cut my sleep time short by about 14 hours to 44 hours per week. So that lands me with 14 hours that I can do whatever I like with. 14 hours that are not dedicated to other things, spread out over 7 days, which comes out to about 2 hours per day. And I guess my math is pretty good, because that's about how it works out. I have about 2 hours at the end of each day that I can spend doing whatever I like, playing games, you know, doing commentaries, whatever. So since I brought up commentaries, let's take a look at that. A typical commentary will take me about 4 to 6 hours to do in complete time. So let's just call it 5. 2 commentaries a week lands me at 10 hours, and then that gives me only 4 hours remaining that are free. 4 hours over 7 days to play games, respond to YouTube messages, respond to Twitter messages, be active on Twitter, Facebook, Yeousch, etc. Oh, yeah, and don't forget, watching other videos too. Yeah, I got all that to do with 4 hours over 7 days. That's not a whole lot. So by now you might find yourself wondering, what's the point, Darvin? Are you looking for some kind of pity parade or something like that? No, I'm not doing that at all. I'm just trying to make a point that I kind of sort of get it when somebody says they're busy. Additionally, I have some tips now that I will dispense for you that will help you to get more time in your life. First, you can always do what I did and sleep less. If this will or won't work for you is totally up to the individual, and it might be unhealthy. I've read a lot of articles on this topic, and nobody seems to really agree on what the recommended sleep time is for maximum health. It really does come down to the individual person and what your circadian rhythm is, and you know how much sleep you really need. So each person has to decide that for themselves. What we do know and can agree on scientifically is the natural sleep cycle. And you've probably experienced this. If you've woken up from the deepest stages of sleep, you're pretty groggy and out of it. You might be stumbling all over the place, acting like you're drunk. It's just that your brain's not quite there yet. It's not quite awake. So what I do is I always plan my sleep schedule around 3-hour time blocks, and I shoot for about 6 hours most nights. That way, if I hit it right at about 6 hours, I wake up feeling refreshed. Now, a couple of times a week I need to play catch up and get a bit more sleep, but for the most part I feel really good on 6 hours of sleep. Now, this is also for an adult body. So as teenagers, for those of you who are teenagers, you need a great deal more sleep. But I remember from my years as a teenager, getting plenty of sleep was really never a problem. I was sleeping until like 11:30 in the morning most of the time. So I got plenty of sleep. So I don't know if that's still the case, but that was what it was like for me. I had plenty of sleep. But now, 6 hours works good for me. So that's a great way to gain a lot of time back into your life. Again, you need to judge for yourself whether that's healthy for you or not, or whether that works for you or not. Another tip for you, look for slack time and take advantage of it. For example, for me at work, during my lunch hour, I'll often do commentaries or I'll work on other YouTube stuff at that time, responding to message and checking things. Pretty much that is my time that I can get back. I have a whole hour for lunch, so I sit at my desk, eat my lunch, and then I work on whatever I need to do. If I'm working on commentaries or whatever, that's slack time that I can get back. Same thing for driving. I listen to commentaries while I'm driving, and I treat them as mini podcasts. So I listen to the commentary, and then later I'll come back to those videos and comment on the videos or give them a like because I've heard what they had to say, so I can get more videos in by listening to them in the car. So look for slack time in your life. If you have time in between classes, schedule something. Make that your time that you spend in the library. If you've got 45 minutes between classes, rather than sitting around talking or whatever, schedule some time in the library for yourself and make it a fake class, and you'll get some time back that way. Become more efficient. Build shortcuts into your life. For me, a good example of this is, doing commentaries. I have a template that I use that I have predefined all of the levels that I need. I have all of the tracks set up with different levels, and I have them assigned to different tasks, and I have graphics laid in at certain places, and I know when I'm ready to do a commentary, basically all I need to do is add the gameplay, drop it onto the track, and hit record, and I'm good to go, rather than having to set it up every single time. So look for some shortcuts, be more efficient in what you do, and automate as much as you can so that you don't have to worry about it. I mean, if you're doing like a research paper or something like that, and it has to be in like APA or MLA format or something like that, build that template up already. Have your cover page ready to go, have your references ready to go, as far as it's going to look and feel of that paper, so that you can just start writing right in the middle of it. You don't have to look for a new template or put in the class name and all that kind of stuff. Just put in stars in places that you need to and just change that every time. So look for shortcuts and you'll find yourself being a lot more efficient when you work. The next thing I want to talk about is be aware of Parkinson's Law. Parkinson's Law basically says that work will fill the time allotted to it. So if you have a paper that's due in 5 days and you're a good student that has some time each night to work on it, you'll work on it every single night over the 5 days until it's due. What you can do instead is say, you know what, it's not due in 5 days, it's due in 2 days. And I need to work my butt off and get it done in 2 days. And you know what, you'll get it done and you'll find you'll have extra time remaining then. Because that's what Parkinson's Law is all about. When I was younger, the reason I felt like I had no time is because I did have time. I had all the time in the world, so therefore I'd spend a lot of time doing things that didn't really need to be done. It didn't really need to take that much time, but I had the time available, so that's how it went. Now I don't have the time, so I can just cram it in as quickly as possible because it needs to get done and I don't have time to keep doing it over and over again. This is something that I really still need to work on. That's why commentaries will take me 4 to 6 hours, because I'm always double checking, I'm always doubting, I'm always thinking, is this the best I could do? Is this really representation of my best effort? Is it good enough? And I never think it is. So that's why I spend a lot of time double checking and making sure my timing's right, making sure audio's right, making sure that I didn't say too many times and all that kind of stuff. Make sure it sounds good. And if you have a 10-minute commentary and you keep listening to it over and over again, that takes a lot of time. But what you need to realize, and what I need to realize, is sometimes good enough is still really good. So at some point you got to say, enough is enough. It's good enough. And that's not to say it's bad work. It's just that you can keep doing it over and over again and probably making it better, but you can also make yourself a little bit crazy. So you need to be able to step back and say, you know what, this is good. It's actually really good work, and it'll be received. So that's something that I'm still struggling with, but I'm getting better at it, so that's another thing for you to put under your hat. Sometimes good enough is still really, really good. You don't need to beat yourself up over it. All right, to summarize our main points, how do you get more time in your day? Sleep less. Again, this is up to the individual if it's going to work for you or not. Sleep deprivation can be awful if your body can't handle it, so listen to your body to see if that works for you. Reclaim slack time wherever possible. Schedule something to be done during slack time. If it happens every day, you know you're not going to not be busy. Schedule something to be done so you don't waste it. Become more efficient. Look for templates whenever possible and use them again and again. Do those repetitive tasks just once so you can use it and maximize the amount of effort you put into it. And of course, Parkinson's Law, remember, set false deadlines for yourself and you will find that you'll have more time to get things done once those deadlines are moved up a little bit earlier in your life. That is it for me, guys and gals. Thank you very much, and I will check you later.